Hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn, and I am grateful you're here. You're listening to the Starting with Gratitude podcast. This is a safe space intended to host meaningful conversations exploring all topics of the human experience. Every conversation starts with gratitude and remains rooted in gratitude. After you listen, make sure to join the community by subscribing and sharing. I am so happy you have joined us.
So grateful for breath in my body. Being able to breathe is just a blessing that sometimes we forget.
I am grateful for my creative powers.
I'm grateful for, every day of life.
One of the most important things right now for me has been being grateful for a lot of the lessons that I've learned.
I feel grateful for being in the position I am to inspire others and to motivate people.
I am extremely grateful for the fact I'm able to inspire kids every day, do what I'm doing, and then seeing the work kind of finally jump to the level where it's supposed to be.
I'm grateful for my newfound peace.
My mom is my best friend, and that's something I'm really grateful for.
I'm grateful for words. I think as a writer, you have to appreciate language. You have to appreciate the alphabet, and the ability to read and write is just something that I wouldn't be having this conversation with you if I couldn't do that.
Happy season 2 finale of Starting with Gratitude. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't start this season 2 recap without myself expressing gratitude. And that's really all I want to do in this little moment. And I really want to have these check-ins after each season because, one, I want to express my sincerest gratitude for all the guests that were featured, that exchanged beautiful energy with me, with us, right? Because they're not only sharing their stories, their experiences with me, but they're sharing it with all of you. But I also want to have these little post-season check-ins with just myself because I want to grow with you all. I want this journey of this Starting with Gratitude podcast to be a journey that you all feel like you are a part of and you all feel like you're growing alongside with, especially those of you who have been listening, downloading since episode 1. And for those of you that have been day ones, thank you so much. And honestly, equally so, for those of you who just popped into this community, even if it was just in the recent last episode, thank you so much for giving this new podcast a chance, for giving us a listen, for giving us a watch. For those of you who do watch these episodes on my YouTube channel, for those of you that don't know, this is also a video podcast, not just audio. So if you want to watch these conversations with myself and the guests, you can do so for every single one. And I love that I did that for my podcast. I think if I were to give a recommendation to anyone out there who wants to start a podcast, it's to definitely explore the idea of also making it a video podcast, because not only does it give you more content to work with, to put out, but also it expands your audience. You know, there are some people who are more visual, who like to digest content visually more so than just audio. And you also have those who enjoy audio. But anyways, let's get into this gratitude. Y'all, I am so grateful that I first of all, just started this podcast. You know, I've expressed this before, but having a podcast is something that I have wanted to do for such a long time. And the writer in me, the conversationalist in me, the inner child in me who was just always so curious about other people's stories, and not only listening to those stories, but sharing them with others with the intention of cultivating relatability. You know, I think so much healing happens when we share our stories with the world. And to be someone who has a hand in that, to be someone who is almost like that middleman, grabbing the stories respectfully and intentionally, and then sharing them with all of you, is just such an honor for me, and something I'm sincerely so grateful for. I feel like storytellers have such a responsibility, especially when we are telling other people's stories, you know, and I'm just so grateful to have that responsibility. And I hope that those of you who have been tuning in have genuinely and sincerely been enjoying the conversations that have been taking place on this podcast. I promise you that I am trying my best to get better in every aspect, in every way, to just keep making this podcast resourceful and keep making this podcast a podcast that you want to keep investing your time and energy into. And I don't expect you to love every single episode, to resonate with every single story. Even though I do feel like we can all learn from everyone, and we can all find some kind of common ground with others where we feel less alone, where we feel more seen. And, you know, it's so true that a lot of the times the things that we create are things that we wish existed for us when we were younger. And for me, it's that relatability. I honestly spent so much of my childhood. I mean, I don't know if I would say like so much, but many pivotal moments in my life where I felt alone. I felt like I couldn't relate to other people. And it's one of my passions to try to make others feel less alone and remind others that we're never alone in our experiences, even the ones that feel so unique to us. There's community in all of our stories. And my goal is to cultivate that community here, to bring different kinds of communities together. And I hope that I'm fulfilling that. I feel like I am. And everything that I'm talking about right now is all that I am grateful for. I'm also just so sincerely grateful to have the resources to be able to create a podcast, to be able to invest time into creating these episodes, into having these conversations, into doing the outreach. This is still a team of one. And I really look forward to the day where I have a team helping me grow this podcast along with my other platforms that I'm simultaneously growing and cultivating and expanding. But as much as I look forward to the day where I have that assistance and I have a studio and I have better equipment and I have someone helping me do the outreach and communications, because all of it, y'all, really is truly a lot of work. And I'm going to try my absolute best to keep the consistency of putting out an episode every single week. But as much as I look forward to all of that, I'm also just really appreciative and grateful and just very much so present with where I am now in this journey and accepting of it, and already just feel so fulfilled by it. And I genuinely am reminding myself through this process that I began with this podcast, along with the other journeys that I began around the same time of this podcast, and just recently in general, like my YouTube channel, like my newsletter. I mean, I've had my newsletter since like 2014, so that's not super recent, but just the consistency of it all. I know I'm missing some other stuff. My online shop, just, all my social platforms. I know I'm missing a couple of other things that I'm up to, but I'm just trying to continuously remind myself to be present and to fall in love with the journey of it all, and not get lost in just keeping my tunnel vision on the destination, just really, truly smelling the flowers along the way. And in this episode, we surpassed 1,000, not in this episode, in this season. I think that's what I said. In this season, y'all, we surpassed 1,000 downloads. And I just want to thank you all so, so, so much. I up to this point haven't really reached out to other podcasters. I do know a few. And I think that in season 3, I'm going to dedicate more time into just investing in conversations with other podcasters, just expanding my knowledge on like sponsorships, and just getting better at marketing, and making sure that I'm putting this podcast out there the best that I can, but so that said, I don't know if like 1,000 downloads within 16 episodes is a lot to some of you. But for me, it is, because the way that I look at it, as I mentioned before, that's at least 1,000 times that gratitude was cultivated. And that's really the root of this podcast. And I think that that's very obvious, which I love, is just the gratitude, the gratitude in our life journey, the gratitude in all the experiences that we go through in life, the gratitude for the lessons, for all the seasons that we're in, and making sure that we're really reminding ourselves that there's always something to be grateful for. And it really is an honor for me to create content that is rooted in those intentions of cultivating high vibrational emotions like gratitude. Gratitude operates on such a high vibration. And the fact that I have a hand in offering a platform, a resource, a space, a safe space where people can tap into that high vibration, people can tap into the frequency of gratitude, is such an honor to me. And I really just want to thank you all so much for giving me a chance, for believing in me, for supporting me, for reaching out to my guests and expressing your gratitude to them whenever you feel resonance with their stories. And I want to acknowledge the vulnerability that they bring to this table and express my gratitude for that, express my gratitude again for their time, their energy, their stories, for sharing, for showing up vulnerably. And I'm just really excited for the continued growth of this podcast. And my sincerest thank you to all the men on season 2. Thank you all so much for all that you shared and for exchanging such beautiful energy with me. And I hope that for all of you who listen or watch, feel the energy that is exchanged within these conversations. Because honestly, every time I end a conversation with one of my guests, literally, no joke, every single time, I'm always on such a high. And I hope that you all sense that within yourselves. So, there's not much more that I want to say, but I had to say something. And for those of you that are watching this, by the way, I'm sorry that the lighting of this video is not the best. Okay, it's the evening. And so I'm recording this later in the day. But anyways, thank you all so much. And I hope that I continue to make you all proud. I definitely am making myself proud. And that's really what matters most. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But again, thank you all so much. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please, please, please leave a review. Reviews are so important, and I need to stress that more. So that's going to be another priority of mine in season 3, is to really stress the reviews, because reviews make a difference. So if you're all listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please, please, please leave a review. And also, y'all, I think it's time that your girl upgrades to a better mic. So tune in to that. That is something to look forward to. But shout out for me not waiting until I have that to start. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, thank you all so much. I'm so, 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 so grateful and so, 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 so excited for the continued growth of my podcast. When I really sit down and think about it, think about its potential, think about where I want to take it, I get the chills. I get so excited. I really do. Yeah. Man, 2 seasons, 16 episodes, over 1,000 downloads. Thank you all so much. Your girl loves you. And I'm excited to see you all in season 3. Tell a homie. And I will see you then. Much love, sincere love, so much gratitude, genuine gratitude, blessings. And I will see you all very soon.